The sacred dance, a journey through the universal law of two. Imagine, if you will, that you're floating in the vastness of space, watching galaxies spin in their eternal dance. Notice something remarkable. They don't just spiral outward into chaos. They spiral inward toward their centers while simultaneously expanding outward. Two opposing forces, creating something beautiful together. This is the story of humanity's greatest discovery, a secret so profound that every culture on Earth found it independently. Welcome to the mystery of the Law of Two. Chapter 1. The Ancient Chinese Revelation. Our journey begins 2,500 years ago in ancient China, where a wise man named Laozi made an observation that would change everything. He watched water, soft, yielding water, carve through solid rock. He noticed how winter's death gives birth to spring's life, how darkness makes light meaningful. Laozi called these complementary forces yin and yang, not opposites fighting for dominance, but dance partners in the cosmic ballet. Yang, the sun, expansion, activity, masculine energy. Yin, the moon, receptivity, rest, feminine energy. But here's the mystical secret Laozi discovered. These forces don't emerge from conflict. They emerge from something even more profound, the Taiji, the supreme polarity, the undifferentiated source from which all duality springs. The Tao Te Ching, Laozi's masterpiece, reveals the ultimate paradox. Being emerges from non-being. Creation itself requires this sacred tension. Without it, nothing would exist. No energy, no movement, no life. This wasn't just philosophy. Traditional Chinese medicine still uses these principles today, treating illness not as something to destroy, but as energy-seeking balance. The I Ching, with its 64 hexagrams of broken and solid lines, became a complete system for understanding how change flows through complementary forces. Chapter 2. The Kabbalistic Tree of Life. 6 centuries later, in the mystical schools of medieval Spain, Jewish sages were discovering their own version of this cosmic law. But their approach was revolutionary. They called it the Tree of Life, Etz Chaim, in Hebrew. Look closely at its structure. See those 3 pillars? On the right, the pillar of mercy, Jachin, representing masculine energy, expansion, love. On the left, the pillar of severity, Boaz, representing feminine energy, discipline, justice. But here's where the Kabbalists made their breakthrough. Most traditions try to choose between opposites. The Kabbalists said, what if the goal isn't to choose but to integrate? Rabbi Azriel taught, the nature of each sephira is the synthesis of everything and its opposite. For if they did not possess the power of synthesis, there would be no energy in anything. The central pillar of balance became their path to enlightenment. They discovered that spiritual mastery meant becoming comfortable with paradox, finding synthesis through what they called coincidentia oppositorum, the union of opposites. Their creation story is breathtaking. God creates not by expanding but by contracting, Tzimtzum, withdrawing divine light to make space for finite existence. Then that light flows back through the tree like electricity through a circuit, each sphere stepping down the infinite into forms we can comprehend. The message? Creation itself requires opposing forces. Without them, nothing would exist. Chapter 3. Islamic Mystical Integration. In the mystical traditions of Islam, Sufi masters were having their own profound encounters with the law of two, but they took it even further. Meet Ibn Arabi, perhaps history's most profound mystical philosopher. He taught that every moment we experience the sacred tension between fana, the dissolution of ego, and baka, remaining conscious in divine presence. This isn't just theory. Sufis developed practices to navigate these states consciously. Qabd, spiritual contraction, feeling distant from the divine. Bast, spiritual expansion, feeling intimately connected. Most seekers get stuck thinking one is good and one is bad. The masters learned to see them as breathing. You need both. Even Allah, they taught, contains this sacred duality. The 99 beautiful names reveal divine attributes of both Jalal, majesty, power, justice, and Jamal, beauty, mercy, gentleness. The Prophet Muhammad said, "My mercy takes precedence over my wrath," showing how opposing divine qualities exist in perfect harmony. Ibn Arabi's most revolutionary insight, Wahdat al-Wujud, unity of being. Everything exists simultaneously as he, not he, both God and not God. Reality is God's self-disclosure in infinite forms, with humans serving as the bridge between all contradictions. Chapter 4. The universal pattern. But here's where our story becomes truly magical. This wasn't just discovered by a few cultures. It's everywhere. Hindu tradition speaks of Shiva and Shakti, consciousness and creative energy dancing together. Buddhism's middle way transcends extremes through the profound teaching of emptiness, that all phenomena exist only through interdependence. Ancient Egyptians understood Ma'at and Isfet, cosmic order requiring active balance with chaos, not its elimination. Greek Pythagoreans created systematic tables of opposites that influenced Western thought for millennia. Indigenous traditions worldwide honor two spirit concepts, seasonal cycles, and directional orientations that maintain community harmony through complementary functions rather than hierarchy. The pattern is undeniable. Humanity's deepest spiritual insights all point to the same cosmic law. Chapter 5. The Quantum Revelation. Now comes the most extraordinary part of our story. In the 20th century, scientists began discovering something that would have made ancient mystics smile with recognition. Wave-particle duality. Light, and all matter, exhibits both wave and particle characteristics, depending on how we observe it. Reality literally transcends either-or categories, existing in what physicists call superposition, multiple states simultaneously. Werner Heisenberg discovered that certain paired properties, like position and momentum, cannot be simultaneously measured with complete precision. The universe itself seems to resist our dualistic thinking. The measurement problem in quantum mechanics reveals that consciousness and reality are intimately connected. The observer and the observed cannot be completely separated, exactly what ancient mystics taught about the relationship between awareness and manifestation. Even empty space isn't empty, it's alive with quantum fluctuations, virtual particles emerging from and dissolving back into the void. The ancient teaching that being emerges from non-being turns out to be literally true at the quantum level. Chapter 6. The Sacred Technology. This isn't just beautiful philosophy, it's practical technology for consciousness. Traditional Chinese medicine uses these principles to heal by restoring balance rather than fighting symptoms. Wu Wei, actionless action, teaches us to move with natural flow rather than forcing outcomes. Kabbalistic middle pillar work provides a systematic method for integrating opposing tendencies within ourselves, neither suppressing shadow nor indulging light, but finding synthesis through the heart center. Sufi practices teach us to navigate life's natural rhythms of expansion and contraction without getting trapped in either extreme. Chapter 7. Living the Law of Two. So, what does this mean for us, here, now, in our daily lives? The Law of Two reveals that every challenge contains its own solution, every breakdown precedes breakthrough, every dark night of the soul prepares dawn. Not because we should be passive, but because we can learn to work with natural rhythms rather than against them. In relationships, instead of trying to eliminate conflict, we can learn to see disagreement as creative tension generating new possibilities. In ecology, instead of controlling nature, we can learn to work with natural cycles. In psychology, instead of rejecting our shadow, we can integrate it consciously. The ancient mystics discovered something quantum physics now confirms. Reality is fundamentally both and rather than either or. We can hold space for paradox, embrace complementary truths, and find creative solutions that honor complexity without abandoning clarity. Chapter 8. The Ultimate Mystery. As our journey comes full circle, we return to that cosmic vista where we began. But now you can see what the ancient mystics saw. The universe isn't just expanding or contracting, it's breathing. Galaxies spiral outward while spiraling inward. Stars are born from stellar death. Consciousness emerges from the dance between observer and observed. The law of two reveals consciousness itself as the bridge between unity and multiplicity. We are not separate observers of reality. We are reality knowing itself through the sacred dance of subject and object, self and cosmos, finite and infinite. Every wisdom tradition discovered the same mystical truth. Enlightenment isn't escaping duality, but dancing with it consciously. The goal isn't to resolve the tension between opposites, but to become the space in which they can dance together. And so, dear seekers, you are not separate from this story. You are this story. Every breath you take demonstrates the law of two, inhaling and exhaling, receiving and giving, being and becoming. In your relationships, your work, your spiritual practice, you have the opportunity to become a conscious participant in this ancient dance. When life presents you with apparent opposites, remember the wisdom of the sages. The solution isn't choosing sides, but finding synthesis. You are the bridge between heaven and earth, the point where unity meets multiplicity, the space where ancient wisdom and quantum truth converge. The universe is not just happening around you, it's happening as you, through you, within you. Welcome to the sacred dance. The music has been playing for billions of years, and you are both the dancer and the dance itself.